watching from. Thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. Thank you for joining Woman of Influence. I pray that wherever you are good and God is still protecting you under his wings and you are safe in God. So thank you so, so much. Please take a few minutes of your time, and if you can do me a big favor by sharing the video with your friends, tag your friends to come in. If you are in a group, just share it there. We are going to talk about a very important subject that needs to be addressed, and that's fatherhood. Who is a father? Who can be a father? Who can call themselves a father? And where are our fathers? So that's what we are going to talk about today. So thank you so, so much once again joining me. And our challenge is still on about who share most of our video this month. You will win this nice custom t-shirt that I'm wearing. We will give you one as a Woman of Influence gift. And it's very beautiful, so you can wear it throughout the summer. If you want short one or long, we will make sure that you get the taste that you want. So please continue to share the video. We have been watching those who are sharing, so we know who the prize is going. But it's not too late to just jump in. But once again, I'm very, very grateful for all my viewers. And you tuning in is a very big encouragement to me. So I don't take it for granted. So thank you so, so much. By the grace of God, we are on Instagram right now. So you can share the video right there too. Let your friends watch it, those who are Instagram, who are there. Let them also have the privilege of watching us on Instagram. And just after the show, we will download it on YouTube. So it's very good to subscribe, Victoria Creppy, so it's very easy. If maybe you are working right now and you won't be able to watch it throughout, you can just go there later and watch it. So we are trying everywhere to make sure that you get the information that you need. But thank you so much for continue sharing the video and helping us to get some good numbers out there. So we are talking about fatherhood, and I saw it so fit to bring my own husband. We've been on this journey for 19 years, and thank God it has been a very awesome 19 years. My seat that I sit on, I hear a lot of things. I've seen a lot of things on this short journey of mine. I've seen a lot. I've heard a lot. So when I hear all those things and I see all those things, and I go home and I see another aspect, I just thank God, and I'm just very, very grateful. And I think I'm the most blessed person on earth when it comes to my home and the grace of God, the man of God, God have blessed me with. So he's going to talk about fatherhood. I don't know how he see his fatherhood point, but for me, he has been a very good father to our 3 children, and of course, the whole church and a lot of spiritual children around us. So thank you so much, Bishop, for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me again on this precious platform, Women of Influence.
Yes, we thank you. We know you are a busy man, so thank you once again for coming. We will just go straight into the show. I know you are sharing.
I'm trying to share the video
yes,
a little bit. So let's all do a little bit sharing before we get in.
Okay, so Bishop want to share most of the video. So please, you too share it. Share it. I think when you share it with your friends, it's help for them to get what we are doing. And it's also important to people to know, okay? It's a very, very, fatherhood is a very great topic. We cannot even cover it throughout, just for one show. But we will try as much as possible to do our best to cover as much as we can. So thank you so much. Continue to share the video as we go into the subject and see what we can do. But thank you so much, all of you. I've seen a lot of people watching right now. Thank you so much. Please share the video, okay? Don't just watch it. Share it with your groups. Share it. Some of you can host a watch party on your page. you can just do that. So thank you so much. So Bishop, let's go into the subjects now. So who is a father? When we say fatherhood, who is a father?
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for the opportunity to be on the Women of Influence, and also to thank all our viewers, everybody who is watching. We appreciate you watching and continuing to support this platform, to use these mediums to, share the nugget of God's wisdom given to us. It's a privilege and it's an honor. And in this time where the whole world is still under, global uncertainty and pandemic, the conventional and the usual way that we use to interact and to witness to people is no more there. So this platform has become very important, so we can use it to share knowledge and also to teach people the truth and the wisdom of God. Now, the question is, who is a father?
Yes.
The word father actually means a source. People think that just the fact that you are capable of impregnating a woman and bringing a child to this world makes you a father. And pretty much any man and every man can impregnate a woman, and bring a child to the world. But fatherhood is more than that. And I think we also have to appreciate Dr. Moses Afu, who was here last week and shed a lot of great light on this subject. So fatherhood, it's beyond and more than just giving or bringing children to this world. A father, it's somebody who's supposed to be a protector, a provider, an educator, and somebody who shields and nurtures. So to answer your question and to define it is to say that a father is someone who cares, protects, and give wisdom, and is there to ensure that the children that God has given him to bring to this world, he's nurturing them and caring for them and protecting them and putting them on the path of life so they can fulfill their destiny in this world.
Okay, that's a very good one. So if a father is somebody who provides, what happens if they just decide, just
I think we don't have sound. Somebody is saying, okay, we're good. All right.
What happens if they are out there, okay, doing everything they can, to make sure that the family is good, but because of that, they are not as active in their children's life as they have to be. Are they still qualified to be called a good father?
Yes, so if you see the definition that I gave, to be a father, you have to be a provider.
Okay.
And if I'm going to be a provider, then it means I have to work. All right? So it's just like the way women are multitasking.
Okay.
I have to go out there, work. And when I work and I earn a living, I make money, I bring it to come and create a home. Okay? A home that is suitable for my wife, that is suitable for the children that will bring into the family.
Okay.
So me working out there does not mean I should neglect my responsibility of being a father. Keeping an eye on my children, making sure they are comfortable, making sure that they are well behaved and they are taken good care of. So it's all part of the role of being a father.
Okay.
Working hard, and I'm talking about working hard in a sense of making a legitimate earning to bring to the house, all right, to make sure that the children are their clothing, their food to eat, the shelter over their head, it's all provided. It's all part of the responsibility of the father.
So how important, okay, because now we are seeing most of our children growing up. Last week I asked Dr. Moses, where are our fathers? Because we are seeing most of our children growing up and have grown up without fathers being there. How important it is for our fathers to be in the life of a child, to be home. How important it is.
It's so important because you see, we cannot try to, and unfortunately, that's the generation we find ourselves in. The divine system of how life is supposed to be, how family is supposed to be, is being destroyed and ruined by the modernization and our ideologies. You know, today I was walking at the park and meditating and listening to a word of God. And something struck me that most ideologies today are, you know, there are demonic influences behind most ideology. Anybody who tells us today that a woman doesn't need a man, you know, to live, it's a demonic ideology. For a man to think that, oh, I can just be roaming around, you know, sleeping with women and making babies without creating a home and a family, it's a demonic ideology. It's just not God.
Okay.
It's not just godly for anybody to think that I can just go out there. And that's what is creating the problem in our society. We find ourselves again where they say it's okay to love anybody you want to love anything you want to love, marry anything you want to marry. If you want to marry your dog, you can go ahead and do that. If you want to marry, same sex, it's against God's order. So that is what is creating the situations we find ourselves. All right? Plus the rat race of competition. All right? So men who are supposed to take their time and patiently, all right, go look for a legitimate job and work and live within their means and create a family so that the mother, the children are all okay and safe. We want to go out there because it's in a rat race with a neighbor or a friend. So they want to go, you know, cut corners and get involved in crime and do things. And guess what? They get arrested and get incarcerated. All right. So the fathers are so important. The woman needs the strength of the man, the father, to be able to be a good mother. All right. So if the father is missing, it's like the whole order of how God intended a family to be is disorganized. And that's what is having, you know, the toll on society. Because when the family is broken, society is broken. And primarily, the family is broken because the fathers are not there.
Wow.
That's the challenge we have.
Wow.
And we have to rewrite and correct that thing in our society today. And that is why programs like this are key and critical. And if you are there and you are a man listening, please, please, play your role and be that good father in your life. And I'm going to touch on some things because until we understand the importance of the unit of the family, and the unit of the family is not complete, when the father is not there, the mother is not there, the unit of the family is not complete. What makes the unit of the family complete? Father, mother, and children. That's what makes the unit of the family complete.
Wow.
And there are many families in America today where the unit is not complete because either there is a single father raising children or a single mother raising children. And how have we got into this, boy? This drama we call baby mamas and baby father have to cease and stop. Messing around and producing children you are not ready, prepared, economically sound to be able to raise is what is creating the problem today.
So what happened that, you know, even last week, Dr. Moses touched on it. Some people will say that, oh, this is how I came and met it. You know, my father wasn't there. I'm doing my best, you know, to do what I know to do. So although they have the opportunity to create, you know, another path that will make whatever they are doing different from their fathers and not repeating negative family history, they still look at how they came and met it and want to continue on that path. What do you say to such an excuse?
Number one, I tell people, relationship originated from God. If my relationship is going to work, I must base it on God. I must depend on God. I must trust God for my relationship to work. It was not man that went to God and said, God, I'm lonely. Give me a helpmate. It's God who saw. So every marital romantic relationship must begin from God. When I look to God, it will work. Number two, the family unit or the family, God's order of family came from God. If I'm going to succeed as a good father, if we're going to create a good, successful family unit, we have to look to God. So if I have had an unfortunate and unpleasant experience of growing up without a father or without a proper family unit, it does not mean that I must continue to repeat that negative cycle. I can break it. And the only way I can break it is to become the best model. So if I'm going to be the best model to change the negative pattern of fatherlessness from my genealogy or my family background, I have to begin to decide to do it the right way. And the only way I can do that is to go back to God and ask God for wisdom. When I was going to get married, I was wondering, how am I going to be an husband? Nobody taught me. You've heard these things. You go through counseling. Even if you see it, how can I do it? But I kept saying, God, help me to be the best I can. And when my wife was pregnant with our first child, I kept asking myself, how am I going to be a dad? What am I going to tell this child? How am I going to raise the child? But it comes naturally. If you give your heart and your mind to it, you'll be surprised that God will never give you ability to do anything or give you any responsibility without giving you the ability to carry it through. So for me, I think when we lean to God and we come to God, and for me, one of the things that has really helped me to be a good father, or I think I am, is depending on God's word.
Okay.
Reading the scriptures and drawing nuggets of wisdom from God's word and learning from the fathers of the scriptures. Abraham was a good father. Jacob was a good father. Isaac was a good father. And all these things. The word of God is full of wisdom for fathers who want to be a true father. And guess what? The greatest of all is our Heavenly Father. Yeah. How much does God care about us? How much does God care and treat us? And if I'm a son of God, then I have to be a good father.
Good father. Wow. If you are watching us, thank you so much for joining. Please continue to share the video. We are looking at fatherhood. How can we trust God to have our fathers in the house? And what can they do? How important it is for a father to be home. I mean, some of us, it took the grace of God for us to be who we are. So it's very important to see, especially a girl, a boy, to see your father at home. There are some advice nobody will give you apart from your daddy. So if your daddy is not there, there's a lot of things a lot of mistakes that happen in a girl's life, in a boy's life, because father is not there. Mothers can do as much as we can. But guess what? When the family is not in God's order, it have a way to affect it negative. We have a question already. It says that how can a family still work if the family union is broken, not by choice? How can they still work it out?
Yeah, I mean, things do happen. Challenges happen. There are some times where the husband and wife unfortunately could not get along.
Yeah.
And the unit breaks. There's a divorce and all of that. I think that still the father and the mother must, and that's why when there's a breakout or a breakdown of the family unit or a divorce, and it's a nasty one, it is not the parents that suffers most, it's the children that suffers most. So it is important that the parents become civil for the sake of the children, so they can both play the role in the lives of the children. So there has to be an agreement, even though the two of us cannot get along, and can, for the sake of the future of the children, the sanity of the children, the health of the children, we have to decide to work together as a team for the purpose of making sure that we raise our children so their future is not jeopardized. Because sometimes, to follow up with the first question that you asked, that some people say that there was nobody in my life, and then I have no role model to model after, and so they keep repeating it. It's because of some of these things. When the father and the mother can't get along, the marriage has broken down. The man is coming to visit the children, and because the mother and the father don't get along, they say you can't see the children, and it ends up in court, and there's restrictions, restraining orders on all those things. And when people are being spiteful, they don't think about the replication it has, the toll it has on the children. So for me, to answer that question, I believe that the parents, or the mother and the father, must sacrifice for the sake of the well-being of the children. Because that's what I think about. I think about my children. And so because of that, I have to endure some things, forgo some things, and there are some times where I need something. And I realize that, okay, the family needs food, they need this, and I have to sacrifice and say, I can delay this. This can wait.
Yeah.
Let me make sure that there is food for the children. Let me make sure that the children have clothes. Let me make sure that the children are happy. When they are happy, I'm happy. And that's what a good father is supposed to do. So if I'm just going to think about my pleasure, I'm going to think about my well-being without thinking about the children who I am responsible, of taking care of until they become adults and they can handle themselves. So to answer that question, there have to be a sacrifice to make sure that we make it work.
Yeah. Thank you so much. If you are watching, please continue to share the video. Please, if you have any question, concerning fatherhood, if there is anything that you want to add to it, please, it's welcome. Just put it on the comment section, and we will try as much as possible to read it and answer you. So please ask your questions, your comment, everything is welcome. Let's do the show together. It helps when you ask questions, okay? It brings the best, juicy in the show. So please ask your questions and continue to share the video. We are very, very grateful. We have a question here. My wife is always comparing my father to her father. Oh, that is very interesting one. And I want to be my own father. How can I deal with that?
Yeah.
That is something else.
Yeah, and that is a bit unfair on the man.
Okay.
Every man is unique.
Yeah.
And there might be some qualities that you enjoyed growing up as your father's daughter. And now you are married to a man who is also coming from a different home, have a different experience, and may have a different perspective of how he wants to raise his children.
Yeah.
Yes, the two of you can collaborate, but to compare your husband's fathering with your dad is a bit unfair and a bit harsh. So you have to use wisdom in trying to share some of the good things that you observe with your dad that may not be in your husband's, and chip in. If he sees that you are encouraging rather than castigating, that will help. If he thinks that you are putting my fathering skills down. Because you think your dad is better than I am, then guess what? That's going to be a problem. So I think that the wife should be encouraging, complimentary, rather than criticizing and trying to let him feel as if he's not doing a good job. Because that would demoralize and discourage him, and it won't be good for the family.
Wow. So I hope your question has been answered. It's a very, I said it's a very, very interesting question, because I know that especially, girls and how we are with our daddies. So sometimes some great memories are built that if you don't take care and you bring all those things to your home, it will create a little bit, unfair, unbalanced, situation, because you have to also leave your husband to also create his own memories. Okay, I remember when I married to we get married and my husband wanted to wear a beard. I was against it, 100%. I'm like, no. Why? Because my father was in beard. I saw my father in beard throughout my life. And I'm like, I don't want to see my father again. It's like I wake up and I'm seeing and like, well, I don't know whether it was my father or it's you. So please, can you shave? And he did. He shaved to some point, and he said that he wanted to go to the beer. And you know what I said to myself? I'm like, this is so unfair, okay? You cannot sit on somebody's happiness because of my father. So I have to let go. Well, if you want to wear a beard, I would choose not to see my father in you. It's a choice. But I think it's a very good thing that we have to allow our men to create their own memories by not bringing our memories, from our great fathers. Of course, your father is your first love. Nobody can replace that. But don't bring the memories and create a new one. And trust God to even create a better one. So help your husband to create some better ones. We have another question here. Thank you so much for all your questions. We will try to get to each one of them. What do you say to an absentee father that decides to return? What do we say
It's
to
a good
them?
thing.
Yeah.
It's a good thing if someone have neglected their responsibility
Okay.
and for some reason have come to realization, let me go and do the right thing.
Okay.
I think sometimes the challenge has been the pain of their neglect that has caused either in the child's life, depending on the time they are coming.
Okay.
But there have to be a forgiveness, and there should not be a quick imposition of themselves. Sometimes you have been absent in a child's life from their infancy, now they are teens, and then you come and you are trying to tell them, oh, you don't do this way,
Yes,
do it that way, and there's going to be a backlash. There's going to be a pushback. So you have to work your way gradually and to earn their confidence, and trust God that you will right the wrong.
Okay.
Right the wrong that has been done because of your absenteeism, and then try to fix the wrong. The children must also be opening and be willing to forgive. There are some times where the children themselves are eager. They are looking for that father. And so when the father returns, they are happy and open their arms and embrace it. So I think it's a good thing, and it should be welcome, and it should be praised, and counseling should be sought to see how it can work out beautifully without creating any further problem.
I think Bishop have said it all. What I want to add it to it is sometimes it's very hard on you as a mother, and which I as a woman understand. It's you that they hurt. It's you that maybe they abuse. It's you that they put you down. They spit on you. They make you feel that you are nothing. Then they walk away. And you were able, by the grace of God, to do your best. And now the children are maybe somewhere or they are somebody. And all of a sudden, here come Father who want to come and take the glory. It's very hard. It's very emotional. I mean, if you don't take it, you say that, you know what, just I don't want you. But for the sake of the children, sometimes maybe you have to pull yourself up a little bit and pull yourself back a little bit. And even if you don't want to do anything with him, you don't want to deal with him, because if the children really, want to deal with their father, please trust God. I know it's emotional. Pray about it. Push yourself back a little bit and open that door for the son or the daughters, for the children, okay, to still have their father. You don't have to deal with him anyway. I mean, if you guys can talk about it and forgive and things can restore back, if not, and you still cannot handle what happened, just kind of put yourself together, which is very hard, but I know God can help us sometimes, and just create that room for them. I mean, sometimes it's help when we do that too. We have another question. What should you do when a father decide or in jail?
It's disease. It's
Oh,
disease.
it's disease. Or in jail, should I look to the family
For
to
help,
help?
or to mentor, yes.
Oh, to mentor
I
our
think,
children.
yes, I think,
Okay, please.
yeah, I think that's a good question. Yeah, that's a good question. And certainly, if the child's father is diseased,
Yeah.
and or incarcerated, and they say it takes a village, to raise a child. That's why you need to surround yourself with good people,
Yeah.
who are a support to you as a mother and a support to your children. And certainly, if they are good men who can be a good role model for your children, you pair them so they can be able to mentor and raise your children. So certainly, yes, of course. And that is why when we are part of a church community, and we have a youth ministry, there's a youth pastor, or even the pastor of the church is a male, all these people can play an influential role in mentoring and molding the life of the child.
Yeah.
So there is always a support system. God is a wise God. And if only we will follow the way God have ordained things for it to happen. You are part of a church family. You are in a good family unit. Your parents are there, uncles are there, aunties are there. They are all there to support. Friends are there, church families, relatives. They are all there to support. So I think it's a good thing to rely on such if they are available, and they have good influence, not bad influence, good influence, who can be a good and a positive influence on the child's life to help the child and steer the child in the right way. It's always a good thing to count on. In Africa where I grew up, when you are living in a neighborhood and a community, you dare not do anything wrong in the community, because if any adult sees it, they can discipline you, and they also tell you to go and tell your parent. So once you know, hey, Mr. TJ is coming, I know if he sees me, he's going to tell daddy that he saw me, plucking somebody's mango when I shouldn't do that. You see me fighting on the roadside, or I was doing something I'm not supposed to do. So we were always well behaved. And if we were going to do anything bad, you watch to see if somebody was watching.
Yeah.
Because it was a community thing. All right? And they ask you, whose son are you? Which home are you from? Why are you acting this way? Even when you are dressing, you dress well before you go out. You better not go and mess your pants up or something. They say, why are you dressing like that? Why are you looking like that? I'm going to tell your dad. So those mechanisms of support is important if they are available to fall on.
Yeah, thank you once again for watching. We are talking about fatherhood. Please let your questions come. I thank you. We will try to take all the questions. Our mom said something that, in the olden days, people used to stay in marriage and endure, okay, because of their children. I mean, in our society, nobody wants to endure anything. If it's not working, just go my way, let me go your way, without sometimes even considering, our children. How can we take, some of those days to the abuse and everything, but how can we find a way, okay, of not being too selfish sometimes, on both sides, just for the sake of our children?
And today, we say we are more enlightened than our fathers and our mothers, and in the olden times, where you see, a couple together, and maybe things are not really working, or the man is cheating, or something is not right, and you see the woman will say, I'm hanging in there because of the children. And they endure because of the children. You will see a man, not really getting along with a wife because the wife is some way, but they will endure for the sake of the children. See, these are wise people that sees the value of their legacy, which is in their children, their descendants. Yeah. I believe that I may build a house, I may build this, I may build that. Those things are not that important as my children, that they are going to bear my name, that they are going to grow up one day to become responsible citizens and influential people, and they'll ask, whose child is that? And they're going to say, oh, that is George's son, that's George's daughter, because I took my time, to raise them well. Cars, houses, what are they? They are all material things. At the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, I believe that when we go stand before the good Lord, we are going to account for how did we raise the children that he gave us. Remember, the Bible says, children are inherited from the Lord. God gave them to you. So I think that the wisdom of them enduring. Today we say we are more educated, we are more enlightened, and we don't want to endure nothing. We are not saying that sit down there to be killed or be abused. Yeah. But there are some things, because of this, our ego, I don't want to be cheated, I don't want to be doing this. That's why we keep clashing with one another. But if we can tame ourselves and say, you know what? I'm going to try the best I can for the sake of the children, which most of our parents did in time past, to give us the opportunity, to give us the life that we have today. Today, every 2 minutes, I can't deal with this no more. They take their bag and go. And guess what? They get involved with another man, get involved with another woman, and the same thing. So by the time you see, they've given birth with 4 children, 4 different men, all right? And baby mama drama everywhere, complicated society, because we have not learned to endure and to discipline ourselves and sacrifice just a little bit. Wow. But what is all this? Because we have pushed God out of our lives. Yeah. And we are no more living by the principles of God's word. That's the challenge.
That's everything. But thank you so much. One of my spiritual fathers is watching. Bishop, I salute you. Thank you. You've been a good father. So I'm very, very grateful. Bishop Akon is watching. I'm very grateful. You've been a very good father. Your encouragement and your support is just an awesome. There's another question. How can a child start the process of accepting a father who have never been there but now want to come? How can a child? Because sometimes even the mother will say, you know what, let him come and everything, and the child is like, no. So how can such a child start?
We have to teach the child to forgive. People make mistakes, and if they have seen their mistake and they are trying to correct it, I believe that the children must be encouraged and helped to forgive and to let go. Because you see, one of the things that as I keep growing, I keep learning, that the things that I criticize my father about, I see myself doing them. Oh, yeah. The things that I thought that, how come my father is not doing this? How come my father is not, I remember when my father was sick, I keep telling myself, why wouldn't he just exercise? Until I realized that I have to exercise and see that exercise wasn't easy to wake up. Like, why can't he just eat healthy? Yeah. And then I see myself eating junk food that I know I shouldn't be eating, but the taste, it takes a lot of discipline. So if you don't teach this child, because sometimes the things we are unwilling to forgive our parents for is the same thing we end up repeating. So forgive and allow your dad to come back into your life and begin to communicate. Yes, it's okay to express your frustration, your disappointment, not in a disrespectful way. And give him a chance to explain himself, give him the chance to redeem himself. That if he has messed up and he has seen his own mistake and he's coming back to make it right, give him the opportunity. And definitely, if you do that and with prayer and with God's help, you will see that you will foster a better and a stronger and a healthier relationship, and you'll be more happy. I like to watch movies like that.
Yeah.
When, a father who neglected a child comes back and they get along and then they build a bond and a team. It's always beautiful.
Wow, it is. It is. There's another question. Say, parents, please never badmouth each other in front of your children.
Key.
That's another key.
Very important.
Your head is like your father's, shoe and all those things. I mean, sometimes, but I think, and that is very, very important because, sweetie, I think I was listening to Bishop Dag. Yes, it's Bishop Dag, who says that he grew before he knew most of the things that the father was doing. And he asked himself, why didn't our mother tell us all this? This man is some way. But he said that the mother never opened her mouth to say that your father is this, your father is doing this, your father doesn't come home, your father, I haven't even seen your father for 1 week. He became a man before he saw all this. And for him, he respected his mom so much for that.
And that's the wisdom aspect that we are talking about. That today, with our degrees and our enlightenment and social media and all our, niceness and all of that, the old generation, okay, they know something that we should humble ourselves and learn and glean from to add to what we think we know. Never ever disrespect, your husband or the child's father before the child. Because how you treat the father before the children will also determine how they are going to honor or respect or disrespect. If you keep insulting the father to the children, your father is this, your father is that, he's this, he's a useless man, he's all of that, they're going to see him as such. They will never respect their dad. So I think it's something we all have to take our time and look at. And it has to be both sides. The man should never disrespect, dishonor, trash, talk anyhow, rudely, or even try to lay hands, on the mother in front of the children. You should never do that because that's the wrong way of setting a precedent and an example. Because those who end up going to abuse their husbands or abuse their wife, they learn it from their parents. If that's what they grew up with, if that's what they saw, they're going to go to practice the same thing. So we have to try to avoid all of that. It is important that one, as a father, you are there as a provider, as a protector, as someone who educates and instructs. Very key.
Yeah, and I think Mama Caroline was saying that we should not use our children against each other. Sometimes you see the mother want to push the father, or the father want to push the mother in some way, and will use the child, to play that game. I don't think that's also right, okay? Let our children, be, try as much as possible not to be saying bad things, and they will learn, and they will also go there and do that. So let's trust God, when you have to disagree or something, I mean, go to the room and disagree. I think the best thing that you have to do is to show love and respect in front of them.
Yeah.
Kiss your wife. Those of you who don't kiss your wife in
Lord
front of your
us.
children, kiss your wife in front of your children. Rub your wife in front of your children. Let them know that it's all part of it. Because guess what? That's what they will take to their home. If you are not showing their mother any romance, you are not doing anything, all that you are doing straightforward, they take the straightforward to their home too. So do something, let them know, after our father, he loved our mother. I think one preacher too says that one time he raised his voice against the mother, and the father is the next time you raise your voice against
Dr. Mike Modo.
okay, against my wife, you'll be out of this house. That is a good thing.
So you dare not talk to my wife that way
That
ever
way.
again in this house.
You understand? So you create an environment that will let your children know that, hey, you guys love each other. I think that one is permitted. To kiss your wife in front of your child is permitted, but not to abuse your wife in front of your child. So that is very, very important. We have awesome wisdom, Pastor Victoria. That is very good. Bishop, Bishop, what advice could you give for fathers who are in position such as yourself?
Wow.
I think that's like home, and also, you know,
Be a father. Be a father.
Yeah.
You know, we're getting ready to launch our Grace Place TV. One of the things that we're going to be featuring on that Grace Place TV is what I call drinking or redigging the old wells. And we are looking at preachers of the 20th century and the 19th century, some of the great fathers, you know. And one of the things that I saw, as successful as their ministry were, every one of them that were interviewed and were asked that what will you do better if you have the opportunities to do it again? They always say that they wish they have spent more time with their family and be there for their children.
Wow.
Because they have gone most of the time. Some of them will travel overseas, you know, for months and be on the field, winning souls, preaching the gospel, and their wife were home alone, their children were home alone, and the father was not there. So one of the things, you know, even the late great prophet, the weeping prophet, Dr. Maurice Cerullo, who went to be with the Lord, I was listening to an interview that he did with Benny Hinn. And Benny Hinn asked him that if there's something you wish to have done better, he said, I wish I would have spent more time with my wife, Precious Teresa, and the children, and be there for them. I heard, you know, Ora Roberts of blessed memory, who is also in heaven now, said the same thing. You know, most of these great preachers have said that. So to advise, you know, sometimes as pastors or as chief executives and businessmen and all of that, we are trying to succeed. You know, recently I watched Undercover Boss.
Yeah.
And one of the guys, successful businessman,
Yeah.
but his marriage was broken in pursuing success. And once he was doing all these things, he said, these things all mean nothing to me. That I will give away all these things just to have my family back. All right? It tells you that we have to live a balanced life.
Yeah.
Yes, work hard, but make time for the family. Be there and play with your children. Ask about their welfare. Get into their world. Know what they are doing. What are they reading? Are they praying? Are they in church? You know, are they doing their schoolwork? Is their grade intact? You know, I'm always trying to find out, hey, are you doing well? What, in this subject, are you struggling? Do you need extra help? You know, and what can we do? Those are the roles of the father. You know, making sure. I could have paid anybody to teach my children how to drive, but I want the title. I taught you how to drive.
Oh, yeah.
So I took it wasn't easy. You know, there are sometimes they talk about shouting too much and screaming too much and getting angry too much. And, you know, but hey, listen, it's part of it. It's part of it. Because and today, by the grace of God, Uriah has a license. I taught her how to drive. You know, Judah has his license. We are still working on going to take the road test. Because of the pandemic, they say you could get, he was the first to take advantage of that. You know, he can drive, but I don't feel comfortable leaving him alone to drive in the car, you know. But I taught him how to drive and all of that. And that is the role of the father. Yeah. Being there, going to ball games with them and watching movie with them and playing video games with them. It's all part of the fellowship of making sure you are bonding. I don't want my children to ever have a difficulty to approach me, ask me anything, or talk to me about anything. They should feel free. You know, there are sometimes they think we are too sanctified for them to come and ask us some questions. You know, and rather we go to them and ask them, what are you thinking about it? What do feel about this? And they feel embarrassed that we are asking them such questions. But that's what a father is supposed to do.
Yeah. So that's another aspect, okay, in my house, I go to my son, I'm like, son, what's going on? What's going on with this? Mommy, you can't ask that question. I'm like, what do you mean I can't ask? I can ask any question, but it's very, very important, to just to create that, environment for them, talk to them when I'm driving. I drive with Uriel. We do things, a couple of months I started, this is your day, it's just you and me, let's just go do maybe our nails, something. We talk about things. What do you think? One of the questions that I've been talking to her most now is, how do you see yourself when you go on campus and both of us are not there? How do you see yourself? Would your friends be able, because you haven't been really exposed to the world. You are now going to really be exposed. So how do you see yourself? And I will ask her some questions, and sometimes the angle she will come from, make me know that, okay, I have to work here a little bit. That sometimes the angle she'll come from make me know, oh God, thank you, I'm very secure. Sometimes, so it's very, very important to interact with them, boys with father, going, doing things together and all those things. It have a great, great, great impact in their life. That is very, very important. Do we have another question? Awesome, Bishop. I can't see that, darling. Okay. Awesome,
Children
Bishop.
need present father and godly example.
Yeah, so thank you so much. I think did Abby ask a question? I saw.
Yeah, I think it was, we've done that.
We've done that.
The mother
okay.
did the same thing to me last week. I wasn't comfortable enough to talk to her, but I realized she's trying to see how I feel about certain topics. I wish my father could have done that with us.
Yeah, please, if you have more questions, we have some few minutes, so you can bring your questions.
And Siri, I want to interject this in there because, I put here that a father must be a great provider.
Yeah.
A father must be a good protector. A father must be a great source, a source of wisdom, knowledge, discipline, instruction. Yes, we should be able to laugh, play around, giggle around, but when you cross the line, I should be able to discipline you. It's part of that. We cannot be so, friendly with our children to the point where they begin to disrespect us and think that they can take us for granted. Sometimes that's the other essence. Some people have so much cordiality with their children that there's no more reverence and there's no more fear and respect for the father. And they can take that outside where they don't respect their elderly no more. Yeah. Sometimes when people don't respect their parent, they go out there and they disrespect other grown-ups and elderly people. But if you respect your dad and you respect your mother, when you go out there and you see other grown people, you treat them like you would treat your father. You treat them like you treat your mother. So children, a father should be a source of wisdom and knowledge, discipline, and give them insight. Let them know that, hey, this is how you handle it, this is how you do this is how you do that. All right?
Yeah. So, sweetie, what can we do as mothers to help with the situation? Is there anything we can do as mothers to make sure that we create a very good environment for the fathers to be there? Those of us who have the privilege to be in the same, roof with our husbands. What can we do so they will keep on running home, instead of running to...
I think like we say in America, a man's castle. If the queen is there and the queen makes the castle, inviting, welcoming, the man always wants to stay in there and be there. So there's honor, there's happiness, there's joy, there's food, there's peace, there's laughing, there's fellowship. All those things that are there create a healthy environment for everybody to inhabit. And then when there's joy there, it's just beautiful. everything is lovely. I think the greatest tragedy that has happened in our generation is where women have been taught that they don't need a man. Where women have been taught that they don't need a man. And I believe that in trying to right a wrong, an excess has been created. Or you don't need a man to be a woman. You don't need to depend on a man. You can do this on your own. To the point where some strong, young, beautiful women have done well for themselves. That when God has blessed them with a husband, they still don't learn how to be vulnerable and be a woman.
Yeah.
Because they've been a go-getter, they've worked so hard, they bought their own house, they've been paying their own bills, and now a man has come just to ask, I need help. They can't do that.
Yeah.
So it becomes, they are married, but they are still living as if they are alone. So that's one of the errors that have to be corrected now. Because if you ask that question and that question have to be answered, then let women be women and let men be men in the house.
Okay.
Respect the man. It's okay. Now, no man wants to marry another man.
Okay.
No man who genuinely wants to marry another man. So if you come into the marriage and you are acting like I don't need you, that's why when your husband is angry, you're also angry. Your husband is upset, you too are upset. Your husband wear pants, you also wear pants. Tit for tat. It's not going to work. Then the man is going to feel some way, and that is where either they are going to start looking somewhere else or not feel comfortable to come to spend time in the house. The home should be the place of nurture, the place of love, the place of care, the place of the most, spirituality, where we feel at peace. And let me add this to that. A good father is also supposed to raise their children to fear God, love God, know God, give to God, serve God, and talk to God.
Yeah. It's very, very important. Show them how to pay their tithes now. It's very, very easy. When you give them those allowance, tell them to, I tell my son, my children, if you want to be rich in God's way, learn to pay your tithe now. It will create a long way for you with your walk with God. It's very important. Sister Jua, I have a question. Bishop, is fatherhood different from your spiritual daughters and son? So in what way?
No. What I wish for my children is what I wish for my spiritual daughters and sons. I want you well. I want you to succeed. The only thing is that I didn't birth you biologically, but I want you to be successful. I want you to do well. I want you to do the right thing before God. Everything I wish for my children, I wish the same for you.
Yeah.
The point is that will you? Because sometimes I realize that it's easy for people to say, oh, they come and call you Papa. They come and call, until it's time for you to scold them. Until it's time for you to discipline them. Until it's time to tell them that you are wrong, you can't do this, you can't do that. Then they begin to let you know that, okay, you didn't give birth to me. So for me, I don't see it any different. It's all dependent on will you truly connect as you claim. God said in the book of Malachi, if I'm your father, where is my honor? And sometimes I never invoke that right as a father, until you are about to take a critical, life and life-defining, life-changing decisions.
Yeah.
Then I can step in and say, no, don't do this. Don't go here. No, don't invest here. And those are the times that are the defining moment. When people have listened, they have succeeded and avoided tragedies.
Yeah.
When they have not listened, they find themselves. So for me, I don't see it any different. I don't see it any different.
Yeah, and let me add to it, because you see, sometimes the so-called, let me put it that way, the so-called spiritual daughters and sons make your work as a father or as a mother more difficult, because I am living with Uriah right now, and it will be very sad that Uriah can just walk out from the house. I don't know where she's going. I don't know. Then she went, do everything, and just came. And when she come back, she tell me this and this has happened. I can't help it. When you have already taken your decision, it's like you cut the fish, you clean the fish up, then you bring it to me to tell you who,
what type
of fish it is, whether it's tilapia or
mackerel.
What I cannot. Okay, so sometimes, personally, I feel that people come here, they call you mommy, mommy, they bow before you, but in their heart, they are not bowing. And you don't need to bow physically when you cannot bow your heart spiritually, because when you are a true daughter or you are a true son, then there are some decisions you cannot make without not consulting your parents. So if you go and do whatever you want to do, and now after that you come to me, what can I do? I can't. So that will actually give a difference between my Uriel and you, because the way I am with Uriel, there's nothing that she would do without not informing me. You know, so sometimes I think they make it very difficult.
My experience, I realize that people use words loosely.
Very.
You know, and that's one of the challenges. And I have to tell somebody this past weekend that, listen, if you tell me I'm your father, I take it seriously. Mm-hmm. I take it seriously. And I take it seriously before God and before man. And so when you tell me, or you use the word and call me, oh, papa or pastor or this, a pastor is a shepherd. Yep. It's somebody who cares. And so if you take decisions and do things and act in ways, and I get to know, or I become an afterthought, after you've done what you want to do before you inform me, then I begin to question if you really, really see me as you let me think that I am to you.
Yeah.
Okay, then I have to begin to advise myself. You say I'm a father. How can a father know when you are not, I don't know when you are traveling, where you are going, who you are going with?
Yeah, it's very, very important. Lady Abner made a statement here. He said, a father should always be seen as a role model. Sometimes young people do not see their fathers as influential, you know.
Emotionally, spiritually, and educationally.
And it's really, it's very, very important too. I think we have to touch on it before we go. What happens if a child is not seeing their father, you know, as a role model, you know, as somebody that can influence me? What happened?
Say that again.
What happened when a child is not seeing the father as the most influenced? Because I think
influential person.
Yeah, I think a son or a daughter have to see their mother or their father as the most influential person in their life. What happens if it's not so?
Number one, it's based on what the child is exposed to. And number two, it's also based on the kind of lifestyle that the father is living in front of the person. You know, if I'm saying one thing and I'm doing another thing. Yeah. I'm telling the child, don't steal, and they are seeing me stealing. I'm telling the child, don't lie, and they are seeing me lying. Okay. You know, they're going to tell you, hey, forget it. You know, one of the challenges we are having with the current president, for instance, you are telling, everybody saying that if we want to stop the spread of the coronavirus, everybody put on the masks. And you are telling everybody, oh, you wear the mask, but I'm not going to wear it because I don't feel comfortable. Then the people who are looking at you are going to say, okay, if you are not wearing it, then I'm also not going to wear it. You know, if you want to influence me. So I was glad when I saw that he was wearing it one of these days. I'm like, okay, now you are showing leadership by example.
That's it. That's it.
So if the child is not seeing his father as the most influential person in his or her life, then it means that the father is not modeling the life that they admire. Yeah. Okay? You know, because if I'm modeling the life that you admire, you see that. You know, I remember when before my father passed, I went and told him, I said, listen, growing up, you were my hero. Because my father was a good provider. My father will work hard. My father will go out there and do whatever. I remember those times, sometimes when we are going to school, we went to a boarding school, and it's time to reopen school, and there's no money. He would take his fridge and go and sell it, just to pay our school fees and give us the provisions we needed to go to school. And I said, whoa, this man will do this. So I don't care what I have to do legitimately to make sure that my children are well provided for. I will do that. Yeah. If it means me going out there carrying things and I have to do whatever I can, as God gives me the strength and the energy to provide for, because it's my God-given responsibility.
Yeah. Thank you so much for watching. Pastor Johnny from Ghana. I've seen your thesis here. It's
It's a long one.
It's a very long one.
We have to probably address it next week.
But it's very good. Thank you for putting it there. Our viewers will read that, and it will be a blessing. Thank all of you for watching from Ghana. Thank you, Bishop Akon, for watching. My Papa, I salute you. Thank you so much. Thank our moms from watching from New York. Thank everybody that watched today. Please continue to share the video. Tag somebody.
And Susan, let me say this. Please, you see the Women of Influence have a T-shirt. Yeah, nice. We are looking for sponsors. Those who want to sponsor the show. This thing is going big. And there are other networks that are trying to have the show come on. So if you're a businesswoman, a businessman, and you would like to sponsor, every time we'll give you props. Our producer is here. He's going to make videos and things, and we interject in between the discussion to promote you, whatever service or whatever you do. If you're a ministry, whatever you want to sponsor the Women of Influence, get in touch, all right? The lady who did this voluntarily said, I love your show, and I want to sponsor. And so you want to mention the name? Yeah. And those who want to.
DT Styles. It's very simple. It's DEETEE Styles. Okay, you can go to her website. What I love about her product is, those of you who are from Africa, or even if you're not from Africa, Africans, we have symbols that each one of them means something. Like we have a nice symbol that says that God is strong, a nice symbol that says that God is love, and she created in a T-shirt that when you are wearing, you are wearing like God is great, and with a symbol, and it's very, very nice. And you can go to her website and order a nice T-shirt. If you want a Woman of Influence T-shirt, I won't mind. You can talk to her. You have to talk to me personal, because that is a special thing. But we can get one for you. But this month the challenge is still on. So those who will share the video most you will get a very wonderful custom T-shirt that I'm wearing. So you too can be your own Woman of Influence somewhere. If happen to be a man, guess what? I won't leave you alone. I will create a T-shirt for you. Okay, I will create a man of influence for you. So nobody is left behind. You can continue to share the video. But once again, I'm very grateful. Thank you so much for watching today. Thank you for all your questions, your contributions. It really make the show very lovely today, and I don't take it for granted. So please go out there and be the wonderful and a great man and woman of influence God has called you to be. It's a very special season. It's a timing season, and just trust God and make a great impact in wherever you are. And I think that's how our light will continue to shine. So thank you once again, and God bless you. See you next Tuesday, same time at 12. God bless you. Bye-bye.